I'm going to call to order the December regular meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to ask that the secretary read the legal notice, please.
Yes, sorry. Town of Farmington Zoning Board of Appeals notice is hereby given that the Zoning Board of Appeals will hold an online public hearing Monday, December 16th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers on the following application. Moran Tree Service LLC application for modification of prior approval to reduce front yard setback from 40 feet to 23 feet for parking area located at 55 Depot Place, C1 zone, adjacent to 47 Depot Place. Interested
Okay.
parties are encouraged to participate in this online public hearing. The link to this meeting, may be found at the Town of Farmington's website. Copy of this proposal is available online or by calling the Planning Department at Farmington Town Hall at 860-675-2325, dated at Farmington, Connecticut, December 2nd, 2024. Farmington Zoning Board of Appeals, John Chihorn, Chairman.
Because this is an online meeting, I will ask Garrett if you'll just call the roll, please.
Absolutely. All right. Commissioner Subramanian,
Present.
Commissioner De Santoro,
Here.
Commissioner Master Batista,
Here.
Commissioner Walsh,
Here.
Commissioner Grady Benson,
Here.
Commissioner Cloud,
Here.
Commissioner Callahan is possibly absent. Mr. Chairman, just for the record, I think Carrie might have called in. I just sent him an email to confirm. But I'll make a comment about that if anything changes. Commissioner Dembski
Here.
and Chairman Chilmer.
Here.
All right. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
All right. So you indicated, what was it that you were going to say about Commissioner Callahan, who did not respond as present? So
I
do I
think
need to?
Okay, hold on one second, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I cannot get out of
Sorry.
mute. I'm reading that.
Yeah, I just emailed it. He showed up under attendees.
Can you unmute him, or should we go with an alternate? I would appoint Commissioner Master Batista in his place if Commissioner Callahan cannot.
I think
Does he need to join as a participant? Is he just listening as a
he can listen. Carrie, can you hear us? Try.
hand wave?
Let's try that one. Carrie, if you dial *6, you should be able to hear us, or you should be able to talk. I'm sorry.
It says I'm unmuted.
Yes, we can hear you, Carrie.
Can you hear us?
Now I can, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Commissioner Callahan is here. Sorry
All
about
right,
that,
so-
Mr. Chairman.
All right. So we have a full panoply of regular members. So
Yes.
I'm going to ask that we're going to now go to the Moran Tree Service application. But before the applicant speaks, I would just have, excuse me, I would ask Mr. Daigle if you just summarize briefly the circumstances that bring this application here, since it is a reapplication of a variance that was previously granted.
Sure thing. Geez, everyone's coughing. All right. The application before the board tonight is for 55 Depot Place. The map currently on the screen is the approval that was given in 2019 for this property to allow 3 parking spaces, part of the building, and an overhang within the required 40-foot front yard setback for an industrial zone. There's a required landscaping buffer to the rear of the property as it abuts residential properties that push the building forward. The board did agree that there was a hardship in 2019 and granted permission for the parking lot, the parking spaces, and the building to be pushed into that front yard setback. The closest parking spaces were 15 feet to the front property line, and the building was 25 feet. The property owner has come forward with a revised application to relocate the parking They're purchasing an adjacent piece of land, which moves the building from within the front yard setback to a completely compliant location, not requiring any variances for the building. Because of the layout of the property, the parking spaces need to be located elsewhere, and that's the application before you tonight, is to modify the previously approved variance to relocate the parking. And if anyone has any questions before we turn it over to the applicant.
Relocated from where to where, Garrett? Just show us on the map, please.
Yep. So right here is the green area I'm sorry, it keeps jumping around. The green parking is right here. So that would be in this area, and it's just being shifted over to here. Same thing with the green. The green is the area within the setback.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Harita has a
so,
question.
so with that, I would ask that the applicant please identify him or herself.
John, hold on. Harita had a question.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, quick question. So is the new location for the parking compliant or not?
no, so that's what the variance request is for. So the parking is located within the 40-foot front yard setback, which is not permitted in the zoning regulations, hence the variance.
Got you. Thank you.
Sorry.
And if I could clarify as follow up to her question, is the square footage of the non-compliant area larger or smaller than in the previous application?
The
Where the-
total area within the front yard setback is smaller. The original area was, including the building, was 1,620 square feet. The revised parking area is only 1,067 square feet. The parking is increasing because the building increased, so the number of spaces required needed. So the parking area increased, but the total area, parking and building, is decreasing. Does that make sense?
And yes, and the building itself now is compliant. It does not require a variance under the new
Correct.
proposal.
Correct.
So
For overall, the area that is non-compliant now, should this application be approved, is less than the non-compliant area beforehand.
Correct.
all right. So with that, I'm going to ask the applicant to state his name, address, and explain the reason for the need for this variance.
Chad?
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just logged in. I for some reason couldn't hear the beginning of that. So
Just state your name and address for the record, and then explain your reason and need for this variance.
So my name's Chad Morin. I'm looking to get a variance on 55 Depot Place for the parking location. And the reason is to push it further away from the residential zone on Forest Street and keep it closer to the C1 zone on Depot Place. So we're just trying to keep the parking away from the residents and maximize buffer space between the two zones.
Okay, so now I will call on the members of the commission if they have any questions. Was there anything else you want to add before I turn it over to members, Mr. Morin?
Not so yeah. So the change that I'm making here, I have plans that have already been approved by the town back in 2019 that are associated with 55 Depot Place. The variance I'm going after today is a variance I've already gotten for 55 Depot Place. And again, this was back in 2019. Since I've purchased the lot abutting 55 Depot Place, which is the furthest parcel on Depot, there's no potential for future development anymore. And so with the added land, I'm trying to change the site plan again to just maximize the distance between the residential and commercial lots there. So the location of the building, which is not really up for discussion in today's meeting, but also the parking location, are done in a way to basically keep everything as far away from the residential zone as possible, and also put them in places where we can minimize backing vehicles up and moving vehicles inside the lot, just to minimize noise disturbance as much as possible.
And I'll just have you also just explain, I was one of the commissioners at that 2019 meeting, but many of the members are new. So just explain briefly what kind of business you operate and why keeping the buffer distance from the residential neighborhood might make this a hardship that is worth considering.
So one of the challenges I would say with this lot is the width of it. It's plenty wide enough for me. I have a tree service here in town, a second generation arborist. And we're a small business, but we do have trucks. And the turning radius on it isn't tremendous. So by putting the parking in the location that I'm looking to put it, will minimize the amount of times we have to turn around. And by putting vehicles there, they're essentially kind of facing their way out. So since this is the end of Depot Place, every vehicle that comes into the lot has to retreat backwards towards Plainville Ave in order to get out of Depot Place. So the tree service that I have is some of it is hazard work, especially this time of year in the winter. And so sometimes there's storm response, sometimes there's early mornings. And so I'd like to have everything ready to go as much as possible, not having to move trucks around and make unnecessary noise. The plan that I have approved from 2019, which shows the building and the parking in another location, basically requires me to have to do a 3-point turn every time I want to leave my lot, because the doors facing the opposite way require trucks to swing all the way 180 around. So by turning it, we'll have everything pretty much ready to go, and it'll be a much smoother operation. I think everyone will be happier with it.
All right. Turning it over, I'll start with Commissioner Subramanian. Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Commissioner Mastrobatista?
I have no questions.
Commissioner Des Santoro?
No.
Commissioner Walsh?
No questions.
Commissioner Grady Benson?
I just wanted to ask, when I look at these plans, there's a gravel area for parking that's going to be behind the parking that you're proposing. That's for your trucks? Am I right about that? The new gravel parking area that's delineated there?
So are you looking at the it's like facing the state land?
Well, it's right behind where you would have the accessible parking area. There's a directional from the top. It says new gravel parking area. And it's right behind where the accessible parking is located. So it's more central in the lot there. Is that a separate parking area?
No, I don't believe so. The parking will all pretty much be in line.
I guess I'm confused about what it says. It says new gravel parking area, and it's pointing behind, in the center of your property there. Garrett, can you highlight that?
Hang on, I'm just trying to get the right tool, sorry.
Thanks.
So I believe what Commissioner Grady Benson is referring, it's this call out right here that says new gravel parking lot, or parking area, I'm sorry. And it's just calling out that all of the surface is gravel. So that's, I'm outlining the parking and aisleways
So
in
that's,
red.
okay, that's all parking, that whole area.
It's like a driveway. So that way, as Mr. Moore was stating, so that the trucks can pull in, because they're larger trucks, so they need turning radius of pulling into the building and then pulling out as well, as opposed to being asphalt.
Is the building to the left, if we're looking
Yeah,
at this
hang on,
drawing?
Let me
All right.
switch colors. Go with the orange.
So I'm just trying to get clarity. So the decrease in the size of the building, is that building getting removed?
No, the building's increasing in size, but it doesn't require any variance. It's within the setbacks for the zone.
Mhm. Okay,
Trying to,
got it.
here we go.
And just one last question. So do you presently have any parking? I see it sounds as if you didn't take advantage of the opportunity back in 2019. Do you have any parking on site right now? For public?
The lot's currently undeveloped.
I see.
Yeah, it's all forested. It's not even cleared.
Okay, so that's all gonna get cleared. That's all forest there where the proposed area is.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, if these kind of bubbles is the existing tree line.
oh, thank you, Garrett.
Sorry, it's sorry about all the colors. So here's the existing tree line. And as I said, as in the agenda review, a 50-foot landscape buffer is required between industrial property and a residential zone. So this will all be landscaped.
Great.
This is part of the little thing you're gonna talk about. No, that's okay. They say.
Do you have any other questions, Commissioner Grady Benson, or no?
And one last is that parking area that you're proposing, Mr. Moran, is that gonna be gravel there for the public?
I believe so, yes. Or concrete asphalt millings or a material like that.
Except
you.
for the only change would be that the accessible parking space and accessway has to be paved,
Right, right.
similar to as the land trust had to do.
Yes. Mhm.
How you've got the gravel parking lot, but the paved accessible
Right.
spaces.
Right, thank you.
Commissioner Jemski,
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Cloud.
Yeah, I do actually, Mr. Chairman. You mentioned earlier that one of the challenges is a 3-point turn. So walk me through in this new design, won't you still have to do some of that? Or is the plan that the trucks go in face forward, or do they reverse up to the building? The back portion to the building? How does that work? This is to Chad, to you. Chad, are you with us?
Mr. Moore, are you still there? We seem to have lost,
He's still logged in. Maybe hold on, let me
And can we ask him to turn on his video so we can see him? Is that possible?
Hi, sorry, I'm having trouble with connection here. For some reason, it's tuning in and out. Can you still hear me?
yes, but one of the commissioners asked if you can turn your video on too. Do you have video there? It's not a requirement, but it would make it a little bit, all right, if you're having difficulty with that, did you recall hearing what Commissioner Cloud's question was? Mr. Moran? Again, for the record, we seem to have lost the audio with Mr. Moran. Can you hear us, Mr. Moran?
see. Hold on 1 second. He seems to be having some.
I'm hearing something that sounds like signal interference. So I'm wondering if he has a weak signal.
That's what I might be saying he's having trouble connection. Let me see what's the best way.
It's that noise, the little pitter patter sound in the background there.
Sounds like typing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like.
Yeah, no option here intermittently, an option for camera.
He probably won't be able to go on video if he is having difficulty.
Yeah, let let me. Give me one. Hold on one moment, Mr. Chairman. We can do maybe if you can type, and then I can read it out loud. Let's try that at least. Uh, that 1 second.
Is he still logged in though?
Yes, he's
can
still
you
logged
see-
in, so I can still see his name, and he's able to send a message.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can
Hello?
hear you now. We hear you.
Oh,
now.
hi.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry, it keeps tuning in and out. What was
Right.
the
Do you recall
question?
what the question was, Mr. Moran, about wouldn't you have had to do a 3-point turn, a K turn anyway, or are you planning on having the trucks back up to the building? That was the question, if I'm phrasing it correctly from Commissioner Cloud. And I think you put your microphone on mute. It looks like you've muted yourself. Mr.
No,
Moran,
not required with this plan. Truck will swing around and back into the building, ready to leave straight daily. So I believe what Mr. Moran is the trucks will come in, they'll pull in here, and they can back into the building. Whereas opposed to the trucks would, if with the old plan, the trucks would pull in and they'd back out and pull out. So
Okay.
there's more room with the parking lot because this area is 60 feet wide compared to 50 feet, 50-ish, a little less than 50 feet, we'll say.
Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Cloud?
No, that answers my question. I'm sorry we had to be tortured through that, but I'm good.
All right, Commissioner Callahan.
No questions.
All right, and I just have a couple, and I don't know if Mr. Moran can either speak or he can type. My recollection from 2019 is you were going to store certain material on the property, like wood chips or logs and whatnot from your tree service. Are you still planning to use your property for that purpose?
On 1 minute, Mr. Chairman. He says, yes, they're not shown on the plan, but any material storage would have to be outside, outside the landscape buffer. So the only location would be here. Or if the dumpsters were relocated elsewhere, it would be here.
All right. So in other words, to be clear, none of that material is going to be stored near the buffer, and that is closer to the property owners in the residential neighborhood on Forest Street.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
let me, can I, hold on. Okay, I gotta. So here was the original location for the bins on the old plan.
Right.
Let me change that color. Sorry about that.
Okay. I understand. And my last question, do you anticipate doing regular amount of wood chipping or chainsawing of the logs and wood material at this location as part of your business?
Hold on 1 minute, Mr. Chairman. Shipping occasionally on site, but not normal activity. And just for the record, Mr. Chairman, I think it was in the agenda review as well, but Mr. Moran will also require site plan and special permit from the Planning and Zoning Commission, which would govern hours of operation and exact function of the site with, outside it within the setbacks, outside of the setbacks. So the general construction area would be governed by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Excellent. Okay, that was good to know. All right. So, Mr. Moran, and again, I understand there's technical difficulties with your audio here, but is there anything else you would want to add before I open it up to see if anyone online who wants to remark? And I assume, Garrett, he can hear us. He just can't speak.
I'm not sure. I've just been typing into the chat. Liz, did you have a question? Or was that by accident?
I did. No, I had a clarification question. I'm just, can we ask questions about things that they're doing on property?
Of course. Of course you can. What would
that
be the
relevant?
question? Well, it would be
Our
my,
purview?
it would be my decision as chair whether it's not pertinent or not, and I have a very broad view of what's pertinent. So what's your question?
I just wanted to know if that's within our purview.
Yeah,
Ask
you can ask. It just can't necessarily be part of any restrictions. Couldn't really be part of a motion, because it's not a variance for the use. It's not a variance for the building. Everything within the setback area would fall under the regular zoning regulations, that a variance is not being sought for.
Right.
So the
It's a
variance
commercial, it's commercial.
Yeah, it would fall under our industrial zoning regulation. Within that setback area, everything outside that needs approval from the ZBA is under the but if you have a question, we can certainly answer it.
Okay, thank you.
So do you have any such question or no?
No, I don't. I'm good.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Mr.
So
Chairman,
yes.
Mr. Moran has nothing else to add before the public hearing opens. Sorry.
Okay, so now I'm going to turn to members of the public, and the way we usually do this is if people want to speak in favor of the application, they raise their hand first, and then we will hear from people who wish to speak either neutrally or opposed to the applicant. So
Mind if I?
I'll ask, yeah.
If anyone from the public has called in to speak in favor of the application, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. And if anyone has called in to speak in favor of the application, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. Mr. Chairman, there are no hands raised. If you're all set, I'll move on to any opposition.
Yes, please do
Okay.
so.
If anyone has any opposition to the application as presented, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. Again, if anyone has any objection to the variance request, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. Mr. Chairman, there are no hands raised.
All right, and was there any correspondence with regard to this application, Mr.?
There was none.
Daigle?
I didn't even get a phone call.
Okay, well, with that, then I'm going to close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion from members of the commission.
It's Kate, and I motion to accept the application for a variance as presented.
Second.
And for clarification, your motion is to approve the application as presented and on file, correct?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and Commissioner Cloud, you seconded that?
I did.
Okay, so we have to put some reasons on the record. So Commissioner Grady Benson, it's your motion. Why don't you just state your reasons for the approval of the variance?
I believe that the applicant has shown adequate, I guess,
Hardship.
Thank you, hardship. Hardship for the need for the move of the actual parking spaces to the proposed space. Do I need to give more than that, John?
No. Anyone else wish to comment?
Dan said, trust me, this is gonna work every
All
time.
right. And I will just add that I agree with what Commissioner Grady Benson just said. It's actually, in my view, less of a extension or variance from what was previously presented, and that before we had approved a building outside of the setback, these are some parking spaces which may or may not be in use all the time, but it certainly is has a less affect detrimentally on the location. I don't believe it will in any way interfere with the zone, and it doesn't change the character of that commercial industrial zone. So I will also agree. Does anyone else have anything to say before we call the roll?
No.
Okay, then Mr. Daigle, would you please call the roll?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Grady Benson,
Approve.
Commissioner Cloud,
Aye.
Commissioner Walsh,
Approve.
Commissioner Callahan,
Aye.
Commissioner Gemsky,
Yes.
and Chairman Schoenhorn.
Aye.
All right, that is 6 ayes. The motion passes. Variance is approved.
All right, so Mr. Moran, you'll work with the town. You know the drill from last time. They will publish the notice before you can get to work on your plan, so. All right, I'm gonna then, the only other item on today's agenda is the approval of the November 18th minutes. Could I have a motion with regard to the November 18th, 2024 minutes?
I make a motion to approve the November 18 minutes.
Second,
And who seconded?
Commissioner,
Liz.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, then that takes care of tonight's agenda, so I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Next meeting, Mr. Chairman?
Yep, I was just going to say, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 21st, because of Martin Luther King Day. I'm expecting an application possibly, but the deadline is New Year's Eve. So if I don't get an application by then, I'll let everyone know.
Very well. Sounds good. All right, so again, motion to adjourn. I will entertain that motion.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Hi.
All right. So have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everybody, and we'll see you in the new year.
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Same to you.
Happy
Take care.
holidays.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.
Bye.
Bye.